obsolete, and the relatively modest population size did not deplete land resources or create a competitive market. It would not be until 1960 that the land registrations would undergo significant change in order to keep pace with the influence of modern development.
The Rotary Central Music Extravaganza is Saturday, November 26th. Your ticket, your chance, your prize. Grand prize, $40,000. Second prize, $4,000. 6 $1,000 prizes and more. Get your $25 tickets now through Rotary Central members, Rotary Central ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, or WhatsApp Rotarian Annie Rose Scott in Cayman Brack at 916-7310. The Rotary Music Extravaganza at Salty's Grand Harbor. Performances by Heat, Fabulous 68 and CNB. November 26th, you can be the winner. Proceeds fund Rotary Central Community Projects. Rotary Central NPO number 232. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now? Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331.
Talk Today is proudly brought to you by Pirates Fest 2022. Stay in the know. Get the full event lineup at piratesfestcayman.com.
And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
In answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What a compliment. No, there are homeless and
now it's time for us to stand up to God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
Good afternoon, Cayman Islands. It's Fabulous Friday, and it is Talk Today. I am your guest host, Laura Young, and in the studio with us today, we will be talking to Mr. Christopher Williams from Cayman Kaleidoscope and Mr. Bill O'Connell, and talking about the Bill O'Connell Jazz Trio concert, which is happening tonight. We're going to hear some commercials, and when we come back, we will continue with our discussions.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Laura Young, and in the studio with us, we have Mr. Christopher Williams from Cayman Kaleidoscope. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Great to be here.
And Mr. Bill O'Connell.
All right, Laura. Thank you for having me here today.
Yes, and we look forward to hearing a lot about your journey.
Well,
yes.
See what happens.
Mr. Williams, can you tell us about Cayman Kaleidoscope and the origins of Kaleidoscope and how this jazz trio?
Okay, right. So I am a jazz fanatic, just to put it bluntly.
And what does that mean?
It
for
means
the
that
listening public? What does
I
that
love
really mean?
jazz with a passion. Let's put it that way. Especially Latin jazz. I'm into jazz in all of its permutations and breakdowns. In any case, kind of realized maybe 2 or 3 years ago that, there wasn't really too much of a jazz scene here. There was before. I remember Jazz on the Green
and Jazz Fest, which I
et
missed
cetera,
greatly.
et cetera. So I got to thinking, if I'm such a jazz fanatic and, I want to, promote jazz, in a very infectious way, then why not, start my own music promotion company, which is what I did maybe 3 years ago. Cayman Kaleidoscope presents. So this is my first big show, if you will, because if you remember in 2020, COVID happened. So I had to put all of that on pause, right? So, I was in Florida vacationing a few years ago, and I came across Mr. O'Connell's rendition of Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz, putting on
I
the
love
Ritz.
that.
I don't know.
We got to be careful.
We have to be careful, right?
Yeah.
And, it struck me pretty much, and, I was quite inspired. And I decided to get in touch with him. I didn't expect that he would write back, but he did, and the rest is history.
Mr. O'Connell.
Hey.
Yes, Mr. New Yorker.
Mr. New York.
Or is it Long Island?
Well, no. Long Island, yeah, but I know I'm a New York person. I spent 20 years living in Manhattan. My music is I'm a New York musician. So I am a product of the melting pot of music, of jazz, Latin, and everything that happens in New York, especially getting there in the 70s. Of course, I'm dating myself a little bit now. But in the 70s, everything was happening. The jazz scene was vibrant, Latin scene, funk, everything was going on. So it was pretty fertile ground to put it all together and hopefully find my own way of expressing myself.
Yeah, it's an amazing time to be born in and to have that exposure to such a great wealth and plethora of musicians. Tell us how you got started as a musician.
Well, it's a long story. I'll try to make it short. I was born into a musical family. My uncle, my mother really, she's the one who chased me around to make me practice. But my uncle, her brother, is he died a few years ago, classical pianist. So I studied with him through my teens. Then I got into writing music. I just did, and I started looking at music, and I said, well, someone wrote these notes on the page. Who did that?
Right.
Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? I started to think, well, I can do this myself. I can create my own music. So I got into that, wrote music for my high school orchestra and stuff like that, and went to the Oberlin Conservatory, studied, as a composition major. And then there I really got into jazz. My roommate brought every Coltrane and Miles Davis record with him to college, and that was an education in itself. So I just immersed myself listening to it, not really knowing about it, but it had everything that I was interested in. Had like the sophistication of harmony and melody, but it also had the earth of drums and, the groove. So I went for it, and then I moved to New York. Even though I'm from New York, I moved into Manhattan to get into the music scene there. And through that, got into the Latin, because I was always curious about the Latin music, even though I'm an O'Connell. Maybe in my last life I was Cuban or something. I could be O'Connelles,
right.
Guillermo, you want to go there. But I got into the Latin thing, and my first road gig was with the great Cuban conguero Mongo Santamaria. Played with him for about 2 years and wrote some music for him. And then I just started playing with lots of, I got opportunities to play with some of the legends of the music like Sonny Rollins and Chet Baker, Lionel Hampton for a little while. People who I looked up to and the elders that I wanted to get next to, and then I played with Dave Valentine, Astrid Gilberto, the girl from Ipanema, all kinds of things.
Great musicians.
And so, it's been a career and a life in music.
Well, I know that we do have we have one of your CDs, and we're going to listen to Sun for Sunny.
Sun for Sunny.
When we go to our first break. But before we do that, back to you, Mr. Williams. Can you tell us a little bit about the concert tonight and what people can expect to see?
Okay. So we start at 7:30 p.m. at the Harkwell Theatre. We'll have quite a few local acts. So there's Mr. Benil Miller, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Kude, right? I don't know what he's going to play. That's a surprise. I simply said to him, make it jazzy, and it has to be a trio. So I'm looking forward to whatever there is to expect there.
Well, that's jazz.
That's jazz. There you
go. Not knowing what to expect is the
right.
exciting part about jazz. And that's what I love about it.
So he'll be there, and also Mr. Devon Eady,
yes.
Cayman's own saxophonist, if you will. He'll do one or two tunes with the Bill O'Connell Trio. Also, there will be Neil and Bella Rooney. Neil Rooney and Bella Rooney, rather. So Neil is the father, Bella is the daughter. And they'll be doing some fun duets. And then, of course, we will save Bill O'Connell for last. Don't take it
along with great bass player Lincoln
Goines, of course.
Yes.
Who's another great New York musician who came down with me to play, and we'll be playing with Chris also.
And Chris,
it's going to be great.
The drummer. Yes, the drummer. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about how you got into drumming and how long you've been drumming. A drummer.
I've been drumming since the ripe old age of 9.
The ripe old age of 9. I like how you put that.
At that age, my mother, she bought me a conga drum, and she just left it there. I mean, for the first year or two, I didn't really, I kind of would hit it every now on and again. But really, when I got to about 11, right, I started to take music seriously. Not jazz, right? I was like
although it formed a part.
Kind of a rock head, and I fell in love for some reason. Don't ask me why, with heavy metal music. Right, so it kind of started from that point, and then I wanted to expand my horizons, my musical horizons, so to speak, and I started listening to jazz. The oldies but goodies. Mm-hmm. So Elvin Jones, for instance. Oh my goodness. I was like, he is my number one drummer.
Oh, it doesn't get any better than Elvin Jones.
Tony Williams. That's
Tony.
Maybe
that's another one. That's one of my favorites.
Tony Williams.
One of my favorites.
And of course, the more modern cats, Dave Weckl, Vinnie Colaiuta, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. And so, when I think of myself as a drummer, I'm sort of a pastiche. There's all sorts of influences going on, and also I love Latin. It's just the feel of it, it's Latin and Latin jazz, but also more traditional Cuban musical forms or music forms. There's just something to that, it's like it has a pulse, and it's very warm, and you have to get into it, you have to feel it.
Yes, like music.
I'm with you on that. Like I said, I came to New York just being a really jazz player, and then my Latin education was in New York, and I heard the music, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah. It's like you feel it before you learn it.
It's infectious.
It's very infectious.
It became as big a part of my life as the jazz thing. So I'm with you on that one.
And I know Bill, he released a CD a few years ago now, Jazz Latin.
Right.
You need to check that one out.
I definitely will.
That's like Latin on jazz steroids, I think.
I like that.
And I've noticed it's not. It's not Latin jazz. It's jazz Latin.
Well, because I wanted to. I don't know how many people picked up on that, but
right.
I wanted to put the jazz first because really I am a jazz player first, but with a heavy influence of Latin music, as opposed to somebody like
it's like your first love, second love.
Yeah, right. Like someone like Eddie Palmieri, great Latin pianist who also was a colleague of mine when I was teaching at Rutgers. So I got to know Eddie pretty well. But Eddie's more coming from the Latin thing first, and then he does great things in the jazz world also. So
And I think jazz just encompasses like a wide variety of music that it's hard not to have that feeling of Latin with
Well, you
jazz.
know, I'm a cross-cultural person.
Yes.
I think, you know, just mixing whatever genre it is, you mix it, it makes everything richer.
Yeah,
it does.
You know, so
yes. We're going to pause and take our first break, and when we come back, we will continue our discussions.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
It's a public service announcement from the Water Authority Cayman to facilitate pipeline improvement works in the area. Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise motorists and other road users that the eastbound traffic along Rex Crichton Boulevard between Chime Street and Hurst Road will be diverted along Chime Street from 6 a.m. to 12 noon on Tuesday, 25th October. Representatives of the authority will be on hand to divert traffic, and traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity. All motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their safety and that of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of the motoring public and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
And the whole island is one big party, party, party.
Little Cayman, the 2022 Pirates Fest season starts with you. November 4th through the 6th with the official kickoff at McCoy's Sunset Bar, Friday the 4th, followed by the float parade. 3 p.m. on the 5th, starting from Southern Cross. Costume competition, fireworks show, and don't forget about the Pirates Party at the Hungry Iguana. You know them pirates like a little party, Little Cayman style. Little Cayman Pirates Fest, November 4th through the 6th.
Wow, some great tunes by Mr. Bill O'Connell. The Sun for Sunny. Say that again, sorry.
Sung for Sunny. Yeah.
Sung for Sunny. And on that note, we are talking to our guest in the studio. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm so excited. I'm dancing. I'm enjoying the music. It's Laura Young, your guest host for Talk Today. And in the studio with us, we have Mr. Christopher Williams from Cayman Kaleidoscope, and also who will be a drummer for the Bill Jazz Trio concert tonight. And that's happening at the Harkwell Theater, and it begins at 7:30 p.m. The tickets for adults is $50, and for students is $35, 17 and under. We'll also be giving away some tickets later on, so I hope the listeners are engaged. We're going to ask some really sort of easy questions, but they'll have a little bit of a twist to it. So please listen carefully. Please stay tuned. And Mr. Bill O'Connell also will be performing, the main artist, of course. And then we also have Mr. Lincoln Goins, who is a Grammy-nominated bassist. So we are just excited about this concert, and we are looking forward to the house being full. And we will have such a plethora of special guests as well. Mr. Kudia Fett, Benia Miller, Neil Roney and Bella Roney is a father and daughter who will be giving us some beautiful duets. And of course, our very own Devon Eady, my great friend, saxophonist, will be blowing you away with his tune. And so we really want the Cayman Society to come out and support. We want to hear that there were people turned away, that it was so full, that Mr. Williams will be planning. He's already planning his next one.
There you go.
Already planning the next one. So before the break, we were talking to Mr. O'Connell, and he was giving us a little history of his career and how it started in New York and who influenced him. But for the benefit of the listening audience, that I would say the Cayman Society appreciates music from all genres, and we have some great musicians, local musicians here who we enjoy. And as you all know, and people like myself, who I call a musicologist, and we were really, really, we didn't know what to do ourselves during COVID. So I would like to hear a little bit of how you actually, COVID meaning that the musicians weren't paid, couldn't really play, missed live performances. Maybe you can tell us two things. What is jazz? And then let us know how
the COVID experience.
The COVID experience. I think that's something that
what is jazz is a tough question,
because it is a little bit of everything.
A colleague of mine asked me, that bass player, a guy named Chip Jackson. Well, I was doing some kind of studio date, and he was playing with the great pianist Billy Taylor. And he said, "Bill, what do I? He did clinics and things. What do you say to that?" And I thought about it. I said, "Well, jazz it's an improvised music with a history, because it's not just improvised. There's a whole history about how the melding of rhythms in America. With black people being brought over as slaves to Cuba and everything, which is a very tragic event. And the only thing I can say is this beautiful music came out of tragedy." And that's a great thing, and the music, the rhythms of Africa melding with the harmonies of Europe, and just the melting of all those influences brought this beautiful, uniquely American music called jazz.
That had influences from all areas of the world.
The
whole world came together.
So
it's almost like the grandfather of a mixture of the original origins of music, but not yet the grandfather of music.
Yeah, right.
It's just you can't really answer it in one question. And the internet doesn't really give you a very deep.
Well, like I said, it's an improvised music with a history, and that history is pretty serious.
I think that's a good way to put it, actually.
From ragtime music in the 20s to swing, like to Duke Ellington, to bebop with Charlie Parker, to post-bebop with Miles Davis and John Coltrane, then on to the electric fusion. So there's a whole thing's going on here, and
progression,
progression of it. And now we are here in 2022. 2022.
I love it.
2022.
I like how you just said 19.
19. Where did I go? I went way back.
That's because a pianist that has come from New York has come into the Cayman Islands, and it's just
going back. I'm losing all track of time.
The roaring 20s, right?
Making you very relaxed before this phenomenal show tonight. And for those of us who have just joined us, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or by radio air, we're talking about the Bill Jazz Trio concert, Bill O'Connell Jazz Trio concert tonight, which features Mr. Lincoln Goines, a Grammy-nominated bassist, Mr. Christopher Williams, our own local drummer from the Cayman Islands, and also other special guests from Cayman will be Kudea Fett, Mr. Benil Miller, Neil Roney and Bella Roney, and Mr. Devon Edie, the saxophonist. It's going to be tonight at the Harkwell, Friday, October the 21st at 7:30. Adults are $50 and students are $35, 17 and under. The tickets can be purchased at the door or for prompt ticket delivery, which we'll still be able to do some ticket deliveries.
Yes.
Yes, you can call 323-1651 for the tickets, and we will be
323-1651.
Sorry, 323-1651, and that's your number.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your number, Chris. So back to you, Chris. Tell me a little bit for those who have just joined us, and I know we've heard you early on talking about, you were in Florida and you called up Bill, who's actually in the studio with us. Really, what else has gone into making this where it's at now?
A lot of stress.
Okay.
but no, I it's something I've always wanted to do. Okay, so of course you need the passion.
Yes.
Right. You also need the fortitude of spirit, because it wasn't that easy a thing to reach out to Bill. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'll reach out to this guy and he'll probably ignore me.
But why Bill? Because he was a great influence in your life? Because you had heard his music?
Because I came across his rendition of Putting on the Ritz. Pretty much.
Putting on the Ritz.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted you to say that again because I thought it was such a great thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a song. Is it a standard?
Yeah, say it like, I don't know how.
Paul, you think you can find that for us? We'll play it in the break.
Like Fred Astaire.
Right.
Yes, I love the Putting on the Ritz.
Yeah.
I've seen
but
many.
Put to Latin, right?
Yes.
I threw some, as Dave Valentine would say, I threw some rice and beans on it,
So, Paul, it would be the rendition of Bill O'Connell, if you can find it. Is it on?
That would be on YouTube.
It's on a record.
Yeah, it's
sure,
on
it's on the Jazz
the
is it on
Bill
the
O'Connell version of Putting on the Ritz.
But you can find it on YouTube right now.
I can remember dancing to that back in the day.
Yeah.
But you have to hear how he does.
How he does.
And I mean,
yes.
I think we're going to play it tonight too.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, actually, we're gonna probably get into that. I want to hear a little bit about a little bit of teaser, because you can't give them too much.
No, we can't.
Well, they're not going to hear it anywhere else if they don't come tonight. I mean, it's not every day you have a Bill O'Connell come to the Cayman Islands and Lincoln Goines. This is really huge for us in the Cayman Islands, and applause to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Applause to you, and of course for Bill answering and
thank you.
wanting to come to the Cayman Islands.
Pleasure coming down here.
And I look forward to seeing you again. I mean, I have to see you first tonight.
Right. But no, it's great.
Yes. So for those who have just joined us, I have to keep putting this plug in because it's tonight. It's the Jazz Trio concert. Bill O'Connell, Grammy-nominated pianist. Lincoln Goines, Grammy-nominated bassist. Actually, if Lincoln's listening, is he listening?
He's probably...
He's on the beach.
Yeah.
You see, I could... and so that's why we're not going to keep Bill long, because he needs to get out there and
back to the beach.
He has to get back to the beach.
Emotionally prepare myself in the Caribbean, right?
Christopher Williams, the drummer from the Cayman Islands. Special guests going to be Kudea Fett, Benil Miller, Neil Roney and Bella Roney, Devon Edie, saxophonist, tonight at the Harkwell at 7:30. Adults, the tickets for adults is $50 and for the students is $35 and 17 and under. We're going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, we will continue our discussions.
Pirates Fest. A little bit of old, a little bit of new. The evolution of Cayman's Pirates. A little bit of fun for everyone. Grand Cayman festivities from November 10th through the 20th. 10 days, 33 events. From happy hour parties, cardboard boat races, the Trial of the Pirates, float parade, national song competition, pooch parades, races, fireworks. So many fireworks. Pirates Fest is here. 33 events, 10 days, November 10th through the 20th. Stay in the know. Get the full event lineup at piratesfestcayman.com.
Fire, raging through Church Street, bright and little Cayman, putting on some heat.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Performing live in the Cayman Islands, a four-time recipient of Jazz Writer of the Year, known for his heavy influence of blending Latin and jazz music, is Grammy-nominated pianist, keyboardist, composer, and arranger, Bill O'Connell.
Cayman Kaleidoscope presents a jazz trio concert with Bill O'Connell, bassist Lincoln Goins, and drummer Christopher Williams this Friday, October 21st at 7:30 p.m. at the Hawkwill Theater. Guest performers include Kude, featuring Benil Miller, Neil and Bella Rooney, and saxophonist Devon Eady. Tickets are $50 and $35 for students 17 and under. For tickets, call 323-1651. Enjoy the best in Latin jazz with the Jazz Trio concert this Friday, October 21st at the Hawkwill Theater. For tickets, call 323-1651.
Welcome back to Talk Today. Your guest host, Laura Young, really excited. You know, music I just get so excited about music. I don't know if it's that you're more passionate about jazz than I am about music in general and jazz, Mr. Williams. So for those of us who are just joining, we have Mr. Christopher Williams in the studio with us, as well as Mr. Bill O'Connell, and we're here promoting the Jazz Trio concert, which is happening tonight. And it's going to be at the Harkwell at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $50 for adults, and for students it's $35 for 17 and under. We also have special guests who will be performing from Cayman, Mr. Benil Miller, Mr. Neil, and Miss Bella Rooney, and Mr. Devon Eady. And right now we have in the studio with us Mr. Bill O'Connell, who is the Grammy-nominated pianist. So you can tell us a little bit about the tune that's playing in the background.
Oh, you know, every now and then I get an idea to take a standard and do something like I have one record called Rhapsody in Blue, and I did a little Latin thing with that. And my wife is a good filter. I said, is is this too weird for me to take these sort of classic things and Latinize them, sort of? And she said, no, it's okay.
Absolutely
well,
not.
for example, the Grammy nomination I got this past year, I did this for someone else's record. He was a film producer, and it was a record of film music. And he had been a producer on the movie Big. Do you remember that movie Big with Tom Hanks? Anyway,
Yes,
it was
yes.
a number of years ago. But they did a scene where they played chopsticks. So he said, Bill, can you do an arrangement of chopsticks? Well, yeah, but I want it on the Latin.
And I
so,
heard it.
So I did a Latin version of chopsticks, and people paid attention to it, and I got nominated for the arrangement of that. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, I've done a lot of that, like bringing a Latin tinge to other music.
Love it. So we're going to open the phone lines. We're going to give away some tickets. Mr. Williams, we have 1, 2, 3 tickets?
We have 2 tickets.
Oh,
for
2.
For the moment.
For the moment.
Right.
Okay. So it's 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. We're going to take the first caller to call 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. You will be eligible to win a ticket for tonight's Jazz Trio concert at the Harkwell Theater, which starts at 7:30 p.m. It is a concert you do not want to miss. We do have one caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to Talk Today.
Hello.
Hello.
Was I lucky enough to get the right caller?
First of all, why are you calling? What's the show about? What is this concert going to be about tonight? Can you tell us one thing it's going to be about? What type of instrument?
It's a jazz-based concert. It's a jazz trio, and we have Mr. O'Connell, who is a Grammy-nominated pianist, but he's nominated for his arrangement of chopsticks.
All right.
Wow, love it. You were listening. So, caller, I'm going to ask you to leave your name and your details with Mr. Paul, the engineer, and you can come and collect your ticket here. We want to say congratulations to you. Can you tell us what is your favorite jazz song or anything about jazz that you like?
You know what? It's going to sound kind of like goofy, but I have always kind of been kind of partial to like Kenny G or
now you're going to be partial to Mr. Bill O'Connell because you've heard his music.
We hope that we'll be that can be a bridge to our music
to our
tonight.
music.
That's
yes.
fine.
Well, thank you, caller, and do enjoy the concert tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you too.
Yes, the first ticket is gone. So we got a next ticket, but the next person going to work a little bit more for that ticket.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, then. All right. So we have the phone lines open. We are actually in studios with Mr. Bill O'Connell, Grammy-nominated pianist. We're discussing the Jazz Trio concert tonight. And Cayman Kaleidoscope, Mr. Christopher Williams, who is also a drummer, actually had this amazing idea, which he has brought to life. And we want to say we're so excited that you have such a great lineup of phenomenal
international and local, right?
International and local artists. Lincoln Goins, a Grammy-nominated bassist, and yourself, the drummer. I can't wait to hear you drumming. I've never heard you drumming before.
Goodness me.
And if anybody knows me and knows how much I like music, I'm very critical.
Oh my goodness.
Of drummers and know that there's some great drummers in the Cayman Islands. Yes. Not putting you on the spot. And so, on that note, can we have a caller? We're going to be giving away another ticket, 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037. And the caller that calls in and can tell us 2 of the local artists that will be performing tonight along with international artists, you will be eligible for a ticket.
Sounds good.
So as we're waiting for the next caller, I was talking to Mr. O'Connell and Christopher Williams, and they were saying that this great tune that was born out of COVID, I can't wait to hear it. It's called The COVID Blues. So I'm going to have Paul play that for us. And while we're waiting for a caller to call in to get that next ticket, you don't want to miss this, we are going to then hear the history of how this song Caller? We have a caller on the line. Yes, caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Yes, you are on air. Welcome to Talk Today.
I would like to get a ticket for the just the concert, please.
So would you like to buy a ticket, or you want to try and win the free one that's in the studio?
Please, if possible.
The free one? I was just having a little fun with you, caller. So can you tell us two of the artists, the local artists that will be performing tonight?
It's Christopher Williams and the local artist. Okay. And okay, so the pianist is from outside. The bassist is from outside. Now I know Christopher Williams for sure for drums, and then what is missing?
There's another local special guest.
Okay, Devon Eddy.
Yes, you got it. Congratulations, caller. So we're going to ask you to leave your details with Mr. Paul, and you can collect your ticket later on. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Paul, can we have that tune? COVID Blues. A little bit of that. I want to hear that. Because definitely we all had blues around the world. That tune. I just really want to pack up now and go to the concert. It was amazing. Beautiful, beautiful piece of music.
Oh, thank you.
So for those who have just joined us, I'm sure mostly everybody has been listening from the beginning. We are promoting the concert tonight, the Jazz Trio concert, which will be at the Harkwell. It starts at 7:30 p.m. We want to see the house full. The tickets for adults is $50, just $50. I mean, what more better way to spend your money than to listen to two great international artists and a phenomenal local artist. Children or students, $35 for 17 and under. And we have a great lineup. I'm going to ask the gentleman in the studio, Mr. Christopher Williams and Mr. O'Connell, to give us some final comments and sort of finish the promotion of the show and tell us a little bit, just a teaser of what we can hear for tonight.
Well, audience, you don't want to miss it. That's it from me. Just come.
Just come.
Right.
All roads lead to the Harkwell tonight.
Lead to the Harkwell.
And you will start on time. So we need people out there between 7:15 to 7:15, getting in, getting settled. Getting your
doors
seats.
Open at 6:45.
That's what I haven't said. Yeah, doors open at 6:45.
And that number to call to reserve your tickets
is 323-1651. So your phone should be ringing off the hook.
It actually has been.
Great.
Yeah, and I hope we can bring some uplifting music to everybody. You know, get you rocking and rolling or swinging or whatever it is, and. You know, it'd be some honest music from the heart, mixing the jazz and the Latin thing, and we'll get the place rocking. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to it as well. Well, thank you, gentlemen. And I wish
you.
you
Our pleasure.
every
Thank you,
success tonight at the concert.
Thank
Continue to enjoy the Cayman Islands in between you.
Oh, we are
rocking us.
We are enjoying.
And maybe I will get to meet Mr. Goins later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Christopher, I look forward to working with you in the future.
Likewise.
All the best. We're going to pause, take a break, and when we come back, we will continue with more Talk Today.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Police are currently on the scene of a fatal single-vehicle collision in East End, which was reported shortly after 6 a.m. this morning. Police tells Radio Cayman the collision involved a silver Honda Fit with a lone occupant on the Queens Highway near Sunnyfield Road. The roadway in that area is currently closed as the scene is being processed and traffic is being diverted back towards Frank Sound Road and East End, respectively. In international news, Penny Mordaunt has become the first Conservative MP to say they will run to replace Liz Truss as Prime Minister. The Commons leader said she was standing to, quote, unite our country and win the next general election. Mordaunt, leader of the House of Commons, is the first candidate to officially enter the race. Meanwhile, Liz Truss quit her post as Britain's Prime Minister just 45 days into the job, but she will be able to claim expenses of up to €115,000 a year for the rest of her life. Truss, who presided over failed fiscal plans and a deeply polarized ruling party during her disastrous 6-week term in office, is set to become the shortest-serving Prime Minister in British history after announcing her resignation on Thursday. Her speech triggered a leadership race that will see the appointment of the UK's 5th Conservative Prime Minister in just over 6 years. And this fiscal year's budget deficit shrunk in half from last year, but the red ink soared on a monthly basis in September, largely because U.S. President Joe Biden's plan to forgive student debt as 3 decades' worth of costs were compressed into a single month. The budget figures released Friday by the Treasury Department reveal dueling visions about what it means to be financially responsible. Biden can rightfully claim that the budget deficit for fiscal 2022 plunged $1.4 trillion from the prior year. Critics can use the same report to say that forgiving education loans pushed up the federal debt by roughly $400 billion as the government booked the full expense. Those are your latest headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Creek, Cayman Brac on the 25th of September 1939, Henry Mansfield Connolly was the third of 8 children for Henry Kitchener and Olive Connolly, an experienced seaman with 30-plus years with national bulk carriers and doing ship-to-ship oil transfers off the Brac during the 1980s. He was also the founder of C&H Plumbing and an original band member of the famous Brac Beach Boys. During his time home from sea, he studied the art of catboat making and assisted his late grandfather-in-law, Mr. Arthur Dilbert, with the building of many catboats. Mr. Connolly loved serving in the community and was a volunteer during hurricane emergencies and assisted with the hurricane preparations, especially seeing to the safety of the elderly and the community. He would often share his fishing catch with friends and neighbors and bring Christmas gifts for the elderly. He was married to Elmitha Dilbert for 60 years and has 4 children, 5 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Laura Young, and in the studios with us now we have Dr. Roy Bodden, board member for CCC, and also the chairman, Mr. Peter Weston, VP Secondary. If I get these titles wrong, names wrong, please correct me. And of course, most importantly, we have a student from grade 12, Miss Atira White. Welcome. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about, well, not talk a little bit, we're going to talk for this session about the 81st anniversary, but most importantly, what it means to be a student and to go through the experience of a wonderful school who's been around for 81 years, CCC. Dr. Roy, if you can start us off.
81 years.
It's a 20th, right?
Continuous. 81 years of continuous.
Strong.
Christian education in the Cayman Islands. Actually, a CCC school is the oldest secondary school.
That's right.
In the Cayman Islands. And the school is really owned by the Church of God chapels. It offers a sound Christian education, but it's also reputed for its sound academics, because the graduates of CCC school go to universities all over the world and they study in all of the various vocations, from medicine, accounting, management, art, you name it. So we're especially proud because this year is our 81st anniversary, and actually this weekend,
yes,
we are having the celebrations. Yesterday we had a wonderful celebration at the school auditorium, and there'll be something going on. I think today was the day.
Yes, and lots of sporting activities. And when I left, the students were playing football, and they were prepping themselves for a match against the teachers.
That's going to be exciting.
Earlier, they had some volleyball matches, and including matches against the teachers as well. So.
Yeah, I actually had lots of friends that went there, and as we know, there are many men and women that have become very prominent leaders in the country that studied at CCC. But the sports teams were Kings, and is it Kings, Prophets? I was trying to remember can you tell us, Atira, what's the name of the sport?
Saints and Angels.
Saints and Angels. And are you?
I'm a king.
You're a king. Yeah. That's right. King Atira. Tell us a little bit about your experience. Sorry about that. I cut you off, Dr. Weston, Mr. Weston.
My experience at CCC has been, it's been good, like one thing I love about CCC is the way that it acts as one unit, as a family. Like each of us, we get along really well. And I think that my class in particular, 12th grade, is a class that we bond together, we tolerate each other in ways, we don't bully each other, and that's one of my favorite things about CCC, that we get along.
That's a great statement you've made, that you don't bully, considering that we're talking about and discussing the bully campaign in particular in October. Can you tell us a little bit, Atira, a little bit more about the CCC and the meaning of CCC?
For me, CCC, in my opinion, it just means family. Like, it means to grow together as one group. And I feel like because it's so unified and it's like a togetherness, that each person, whether they're from different grades, we all come together and we all support each other. So that's what I think.
And about the academics, what's your favorite subject?
My favorite subject right now is biology.
Biology.
Yeah.
And have you found that CCC provides, I know we're talking about a solid, sound education consistent, as Dr. Roy has said, for the last 81 years. Have you found that your subject and the teaching that you have enjoyed. Have you been there for 12 years?
I've been there since pre-K.
Since pre-K.
Yes, I've
wow,
seen
what a
it
better.
grow.
Yes, you have seen it grow through those
Yeah.
years. Yes, and you have found that you have had a variety of different types of solid teachers who are grounded.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, especially with my current biology teacher, I can just tell that he's so passionate about the subject, and it makes me want to learn even more every day, so that's something exciting for me.
And what is do you have any idea what you want to study in your future, your near future? Are you still thinking about it?
I mean, I have an idea, but I don't want to announce it.
Okay, that's
if
fine.
things go wrong,
Things won't go wrong. You will always be led in the direction that you need to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Weston, back
If
to
I
you.
can, yes, if I can just speak to my area of interest, I was for many, many years a social studies or history geography teacher. So the history of CCC, creative Christian character,
That's what I was
goes
the
right
three
back.
Cs.
Yes, goes right back to 1944. Now the school was established in 1941, and it has various reports, either 6 or 7. Initial students, but by 1944 the decision was taken to follow the U.S. curriculum,
yes.
And the principal at the time opened up the naming of the school to the students for their suggestions, because up to that point it had been known by either the Marin School,
yes,
or
Mr. Marin,
or the Church of God School.
Church of God School.
And so the students were encouraged to put in their suggestions, what they felt about the school, what they thought the school embodied and stood for. And out of the suggestions, she drew out of a hat 3, and they were creative Christian character. And so that's how CCC got its name.
And that's why I was stressing it. And as she, as a Tira, our student, who's speaking from CCC, she talked about that bonding. I thought about the creative Christian character and how that was embedded, and how, phenomenal that is, that you that have gone through from pre-K up to grade 12 could summarize that, not just through the three names and the pillars of the school, but that you feel it. Yeah. And as you feel it, you can speak it. Dr.
So it's I'm the board chair, and it's really my responsibility, the board responsibility. The school, as I have said, is owned by the Church of God chapels in these islands, and so we have a board which comprises all the members. Are really the unique thing about this is that we are born again Christians, so we focus heavily on the Christian aspect of education, but that is not the only focus. We also have an equal eye on the academics. And one of the things I'm proud of, we've just completed our strategic planning exercise. So we're looking forward to determining over the next 5 years what the priorities would be. But the board, as well as the owners, we are always interested in offering quality education, which ensures that our students are complete Christians. So we're looking forward to offering quality education using cutting-edge technology, which affords our students to gain entry into the world of work, if they so desire, and to gain entry into even the most prestigious colleges. So we focus a lot of our efforts on developing the character of the students. And
which is very pivotal to operating and functioning.
That's
properly
correct.
in a
And
society.
we recently implemented a program for young men called Christian Men of Standard. Now, when I was at the University College, I had a program called Men of Standard, which was very successful. And what it did is it groomed young men in things like decorum, deportment, right conduct, and all that. So we've adopted that curriculum with more of a Christian focus. Because my program at the University College, while it did have modules dealing with religion, was a secular program, but we've converted it at CCC into more of a Christian-focused program. So the program is called Christian Men of Standard. And already we did a pilot last semester, and already this semester we run it with the middle and secondary school young men, and we have a great show, great enthusiasm. So we're looking forward. And this is part of the preparation of young men so that when they go out, they can make the proper choices and can be role models.
And it's so essential to hear you talk about that. Whilst we know that it's very important that we provide that character building for not just the girls, but the boys who will be the leaders and the men and the role models. As Scripture tells us that the man should lead the house and should be in charge of the house. And as you were speaking and emphasizing on the fact that there's that balance between the Christian element, the Christian focus of the school as well as the academics, I think of how the book that guides and that influences our lives as Christians speaks of every topic, and education is one of the pivotal things of the church, of the home, that should be driven by the home and the church. So I keep wanting to call you Doctor as well, even though Roy said I can just call him Roy.
Not there yet.
Mr. Peter Weston, can you tell us a little bit more about how, in the 81 years, how the school has evolved in the area of the administration and the academics and the courses?
Well, once the U.S. curriculum was the choice made, the connection with Anderson University, which is a Church of God institution in Indiana, has kept us on the right track over the years. So they provided teachers initially, and they still have representation on the school board, and we look to them for inspiration. A number of students over the years have gone on to complete their university academic career at Indiana, in Indiana, and the connection, I think, between church and school is a very important one. We believe that the school must work with the parents, work with the school, work with the church to create individuals who are going to be functioning academically, socially, but also open to the spiritual realities of life, and the listening to and being open to hear the Word of God and to heed His call, because we believe He reaches out to each of us, and we don't all hear Him at the same time, but life is a journey, and somewhere along the lines, if you don't hear Him initially, perhaps later on you will. If you've got a good foundation academically, that you're going to be successful in life in terms of a job, a position, whatever, you also will take with you that spiritual aspect, which is so important in being, if nothing else, a good, a functioning member of society and a benefit to society in general.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and
exactly. When
he's old, he shall not depart from it. And training up is the essential part of what Triple C has done in providing that balanced, holistic education. Tira, for those who are just joining us, your guest host Laura for Talk Today, and in the studio with us we have members from Triple C. We have Miss Atira White, who's a student, grade 12, who has journeyed up from pre-K, Atira, and we have Dr. Roy Bodden, a board member, and also Mr. Peter Weston, the VP secondary, and Atira. On that note, can you tell us a little bit more? Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience at Triple C? What was your favorite grade? I mean, year 12 could be your favorite grade because you're ready to leave, or you're not ready to leave and you wish they had 2 more grades.
No. My favorite grade, I like nap time, so I'd say probably one of the younger ones, like pre-K. And plus in pre-K, my mom taught me, so.
You had your mom as a teacher. Absolutely. And the reason why I asked you that, because obviously we're here promoting the 81st anniversary, but we're also encouraging others who are young parents who might want to, consider Triple C as their school of choice where they will have a balanced education of Christian and a solid academic background. Anything else you want to say to us, to the listening audience about, or to someone who might want to be wanting to attend Triple C school?
Another thing that's I think is prominent is that Triple C offers AP courses or AP classes that.
Can you explain to us a little bit about what AP is?
So AP stands for Advanced Placement, right? And basically, it allows you to take an exam at the end of your, school semester, or school semester, and you can apply for college credits. So if you take, for example, AP Psychology, which is one of the courses I took last school year, and you pass with a grade 5 or 3, you can go to a college and say that you took that class and apply for the college course credit. And then you don't have to take that class in college anymore because you have the credits. So
yes, that's the beauty of AP.
Yeah, and another thing is that you can also use AP in the UK as a substitute for A levels, which I think is really cool because, for example, students who want to go to the UK, they can transfer their credits over there.
And that's another point. We do have a caller, and we're going to take that caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. You are on air.
Good afternoon, Laura.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Okay, and you?
Good. I do recognize the voice, so good to hear from you always. You have a question for us, for the guest?
Actually, a comment.
Sure, go ahead.
Good afternoon to you guests also.
Good afternoon. He's saying good afternoon to the guest.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, concerning Triple C School, as a Caymanian, I was pleased to hear that Ms. Hydes was your new principal. And I think the students should show her every day, if they possibly can, that they really appreciate having her working with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Well, I can speak from the point of view of the board. I'm sure I speak on behalf of the board when I say that as a board, we have every confidence in the CAO. Her title is Chief Administrative Officer, Mrs. Leonora Mendoza Hydes, and her senior leadership team, of which Mr. Weston is a member. We're excited about it. The school is, of course, accredited by the United States Accrediting Agency, as well as it's accredited by the Cayman Islands government. Triple C School offers a safe environment for students. We have caring faculty. We have relatively small classes, and the students do very well. As Atira has attested, they get along as family. We don't have any of the tensions that you may experience on certain other campuses. And it really is the place for caring and discriminating parents to send their students, particularly if they want to inculcate in them Christian values. At the same time, they're affording them an excellent education. And it's good value for money. It's good value for money because the fees are very attractive. I would hope that one of these days we can raise our fees to a slightly higher level because our teachers work hard, and we would like to be able to afford them the maximum salary that we can. But right now the fees are very attractive, very modest in comparison to some other institutions, while the standards, educational standards at Triple C are comparable.
So we're celebrating our 81st your 81st anniversary. Can you tell the listening public what are some of the events? I know you talked about it early on that has encompassed this 81st anniversary weekend.
Yes, we had quite a celebration yesterday, as Dr. Bodden has already indicated. We had a special presentation with members of the school board, the pastors, alumni, some of the parents and grandparents. There were musical selections from the band.
You have an amazing band.
Yes, and steel pan players performed for us as well. There were video presentations where students were interviewed about what they thought about the school and the links with the community and what their parents thought and so on. And we ended off with a very, very nice way of celebrating with some special cupcakes celebrating the 81st anniversary.
Were they red and white?
Yes, of course. There were
when I was dressing today, I was like, oh, I didn't have anything.
There were some blue ones as well.
The red and the blue. Yeah, red and blue. Exactly.
And today we had some fun times together athletically. We celebrated by decorating classrooms, and they were judged. On Sunday afternoon, we're having a worship service at Walker's Road Church of God Chapels.
When does that start?
That's at 4 o'clock.
4.
And, I think it's going
and
to
it's
be
open to the public,
yes,
obviously, because there's many people in the community that have supported, have gone through CCC.
Yes, and I think there will be some more CCC musicians involved in that service, so hopefully a lot of people come along and take part and enjoy it.
Yes, well, I didn't attend CCC, but I had a lot of friends around me that did. So, like the Peter Woods of back in the day and the Petula Twins, and I could go on a list, but they might not like me calling them on air. One question I did want to ask, if it's possible to answer it, is what would you say as it relates to the oldest student that attended CCC that are still alive, that you might want to mention them? Are we aware of who that is? That's a long time ago.
Well, I have names of the initial batch of students. Mary Marin, who was Mary Thompson, who passed fairly recently. Burke Hunter, Edlin Marin, Evelyn Marin, Darian Marin, and Winsome Panton. Again, as I said, some sources say 6 initial students, some say 7. So
the record says 7.
Yes, I'm not 100% sure which is the accurate one, because even though the students think I'm old, I'm not 81 yet.
Well, definitely, it's provided a solid, sound foundation for 81 years. That's a long time. And the first graduating class was in 1947.
Correct.
So I did a little bit of research in history, a lot that I know from some people speaking about it. But when I think of CCC, I think of the creative Christian character. I think that's a powerful motto and something that we all should live by. And certainly we make no apologies for being Caymanian and being raised on our Christian godly principles. So it's happy to know that CCC is still standing, of one of the few Christian schools that we still have in the Cayman Islands that hope to bring that balance. Well, I would like to hear some final comments. We would like to hear some final comments about CCC and its wonderful work that it's done in the community by bringing a solid, balanced education. Mr. Roy?
Perhaps as board chair, I can begin. What I'd like to say is that it almost sounds like a cliche, but CCC is the place to be.
It's a good cliche.
I've been involved as a board chair. I see the difference. And one of the things that struck me yesterday, we have whole families up to about 3, sometimes 3 and 4 generations.
That's where I was going with my question. The
to CCC. So that must say something about the institution. You have grandchildren, mothers, fathers, and I was impressed.
I think there's even a great grandchild. My godson graduated 4 years ago from there.
I was impressed with that. And the graduates of CCC have held prominent positions and are holding prominent positions in the Caymanian community. They are very, very famous graduates too overseas. one of the in the Church of God chapels, for example, right now we have two, I think, Pastor Alson
Yes.
and Pastor Stan.
Yes.
They're graduates of
Triple C.
Triple C School. We have other persons in prominent roles that are graduates of Triple C. So Triple C School, and I'm an educator, and I consider myself an excellent educator, and I would grade Triple C School as a very good school, bordering on excellence. It's the place that I would have no qualms in sending my own children now. If I had children that age, I would send them there confidently. As the board chair, I see the campus, I see the interactions. I love the enthusiasm and the caring of the teachers. And as for the CAO and Mrs. Lenora Mendoza Hides, I interviewed her. And everybody knows me who knows that my standards are very meticulous and extremely high. And I can say that she's a capable person. And she's surrounded by capable lieutenants on her senior leadership team. Another thing I love about Triple C School, it has an almost international faculty. And these kinds of things brings the student these varied experience. And yet, within this faculty, there's a Christian ethos. So what many people don't understand about a school like Triple C School, even if you're teaching biology, there's a particular slant, there's an aspect of biology. And all is Christian-based. All of the subjects have that background that are infused by that Christian ethos, which is very, very important.
That's right. The Bible speaks of history, geography, mathematics, literature, English. Everything is in the Bible. Everything is based on Christian godly values. Mr. Weston?
I was just going to mention, following up on what Dr. Bowden just said, Mrs. Mendoza Hides brings not only her very profound Christian background and practice with her, but she has got a wealth of experience in government and in private school positions. So she has come to us at the right time to help us through these dangerous waters as we prepare ourselves for the next 5 and then the next 10 years, according to our strategic planning that's just gone on. And I think that that maybe Tara can be the one to talk about some of the things in addition to the educational activities like the AP courses and so on, the solid academic foundation that we provide. We do provide, and Dr. Bowden talked about the Christian men of character. The girls have had a group for a few years, the ICB, under Mrs. Knight, and I think Atira can talk about that. She can also maybe say something about the Yes Club, which is a very important group. Well, there's more than one group. There's a junior elementary group, and there's the middle and high school group, youth experiencing salvation. So I'll let Atira speak from her own experience.
Close us out on that, Atira.
Okay, so the ICB group is another Christian-based club under Miss Knight, and it's all about empowering women. And so basically, a group of girls, we gather every Wednesdays to talk about different political issues, different issues that we might have in our homes, in our class, and we talk about how to solve them. And we're also working on mentoring other girls in the younger grades. And the one thing that I love about ICB is that it's not only like a club at Triple C, we also do volunteering work. So last year we went to Johnny Cumber and we read books to the little kids, which I enjoyed a lot. And about Yes Club is another Christian-based group. And there we meet every Thursday mornings, and we have praise and worship, and then we just talk about God, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so well-balanced school. Well, we want to thank you, guest, for coming in and talking about Triple C, a great school. Triple C, a great place to be. That's a nice, wonderful catchphrase, but not just a catchphrase. Please consider Triple C as probably another choice for where you're going to send your children. We thank you and we wish you all the best as you celebrate 81 years this weekend. We're going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, we will have more Talk Today.
a caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
And the whole island is one big party, party, party.
Little Cayman, the 2022 Pirates Fest season starts with you November 4th through the 6th with the official kickoff at McCoy's Sunset Bar Friday the 4th, followed by the float parade 3 p.m. on the 5th starting from Southern Cross, costume competition, fireworks show, and don't forget about the Pirates Party at the Hungry Iguana. You know them pirates like a little party, Little Cayman style. Little Cayman Pirates Fest, November 4th through the 6th.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross, now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
Performing live in the Cayman Islands, a four-time recipient of Jazz Writer of the Year, known for his heavy influence of blending Latin and jazz music, is Grammy-nominated pianist, keyboardist, composer, and arranger, Bill O'Connell.
Cayman Kaleidoscope presents a jazz trio concert with Bill O'Connell, bassist Lincoln Goins, and drummer Christopher Williams this Friday, October 21st at 7:30 p.m. at the Hawkwill Theatre. Guest performers include Kude, featuring Benil Miller, Neil and Bella Rooney, and saxophonist Devon Eady. Tickets are $50 and $35 for students 17 and under. For tickets, call 323-1651. Enjoy the best in Latin jazz with the Jazz Trio concert this Friday, October 21st at the Hawkwill Theatre. For tickets, call 323-1651.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage, with tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
60 and bossy with J and money. When I trip it easy, trust me. Yeah. Come on, just send some money. I instant entry. Look how you lucky. Bossy, J and money, bossy. J and money, send you go a yard. Teen, bossy, Jamaica well bossy. 60 and bossy. We well proudie.
Celebrate Jamaica 60 with J and money for a chance to win a dream vacation for two to Jamaica, including airfare, resort stay, and more. Send money for a chance to win. Your loved ones will also be entered for a chance to win a brand new car. Competition runs from now until December 24th. J and money 60 and bossy enough.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at J and Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
Bossy, Jamaica well bossy. 60 and bossy.
No J and bank account required.
Pirates Fest. A little bit of old, a little bit of new. The evolution of Cayman's Pirates. A little bit of fun for everyone. Grand Cayman festivities from November 10th through the 20th. 10 days, 33 events. From happy hour parties, cardboard boat races, the Trial of the Pirates, float parade, national song competition, pooch parades, races, fireworks. So many fireworks. Pirates Fest is here. 33 events, 10 days, November 10th through the 20th. Stay in the know. Get the full event lineup at piratesfestcayman.com.
Pirates fire, raging through Church Street, bright and little Cayman, putting on some
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Laura Young, and in the studio with us now we have from the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, Maya, good afternoon, Daniela and William.
Good afternoon.
And they're here. Good afternoon. Welcome. And they're here to talk about pop and the popular. So I'm going to ask William or Danielle to begin our discussions and telling us what this is all about.
Well, great. Thank you very much, and thank you for having us here. It's always great to be able to share what's happening at the National Gallery with our audiences here on Radio Cayman. Pop and the Popular is a brand new exhibition, so we're very excited. It's just opened today, and it's running until the 10th of February. So this exhibition really started out looking at this historical movement of pop art, which some listeners might be familiar with, but I'll say a bit more on that, and really thinking about the ways in which the pop art movement has inspired contemporary artists here in Cayman. So it's really a blend of this historical exploration of pop, and for those who don't know about pop art was a movement that emerged in the 1960s, primarily in the United States, and it's synonymous with artists such as Andy Warhol, people like Roy Lichtenstein. So these were figures who, in Andy Warhol's case, were really looking at consumer culture, at popular culture. So not these sort of highbrow themes that we think of when we go to a modern art museum and you see these abstract paintings and people will stand in front of the painting and go, oh, what am I looking at here? It's going way over my head. So pop art was really subverting that, putting it on its head and looking at the everyday world around us, at popular culture, at billboard advertising and TV and radio, all these novel things, right, in the 60s, and thinking about how society had changed and had been influenced by consumer culture. So pop art as a movement, as this sort of historical origin point for this exhibition of contemporary Caymanian art, is really the basis of this show. And we can talk a little bit more about how Caymanian artists have responded to that, engaged with these ideas and themes, and kind of put their own stamp on it and given it more of a Caribbean flavor, a Caymanian sort of spin on it, if you like.
So really and truthfully, we've always had pop art. We just wasn't aware of the fact that it is called pop art, and it's embedded within our society and within the artists, the local artists. Yes.
Absolutely.
Ms. Danielle, tell us, what is your contribution at the National Gallery to the pop art, and what are you involved in?
Well, I'm curatorial support at the gallery, and I was curatorial assistant for this project. And that just really involves a little bit of everything, assisting with the text and with admin tasks associated with the project, and, helping put the show together and working on submissions, because this was an open call exhibition where we reached out to the community and they contributed their work. We're able to go through a formal review process. We've got a lot of new names that haven't been exhibited at the gallery before that came up as a result of Cayman Art Week as well, which we were really excited about. You'll find popular names that you might have heard of, like Ray Banker, Carlos Garcia, Gordon Solomon, Yarnir Powery, Mark Lawrenson, and Avril Ward. But you'll also see names like Xenia Zia and Vanessa Antunes and Heather Holt, Deborah Gill, who are displaying a variety of different mediums at the site, which is really exciting.
Maya.
Yes.
This is new and exciting for National Gallery. So just tell us from your point of view how excited you are. I know I can see by your face how excited you are about this new exhibition. Anything?
Yeah, so I'm the education manager at the National Gallery. So my department really looks at creating further engagement with the exhibitions that Will and Daniela and the rest of the curatorial and collections team design. So I think, speaking to what Will said about the sort of spirit of pop art and about the art historical sort of period of pop art, it's really about sort of turning what people assume art is on its head and looking less at this sort of intellectual highbrow appreciation of art and thinking more about popular subjects, images that we see in our society all the time but might not necessarily think of them as being art, and attributing more value to that, right? And I think it really speaks to one of the, part of our mission at the National Gallery, which is to build more appreciation for art across our community and also globally and regionally as well, but also to be an inclusive and accessible space. So not everybody who comes into an art gallery, and we've said this many times, is going to have this very intellectual approach to art. Some people really like things that are colorful and commercial and speak to their everyday experience that they can connect to a little bit more closely than something that's abstract, for example. So I think through the education program, it's going to be a really cool show to connect with people on a very sort of popular level, and thinking about, images like the Milo cans from Ray Banker's work that, evoke a lot of memories for a lot of people. Or just, images of paddle boards. We have a piece that uses a paddle board with painting on it, Heather Holt's work that you mentioned before, Daniela. So I can talk a little bit about the program a little bit later on, maybe. I don't want to hog the mic too much. But yes, I'm very excited about developing the programming angle of this show.
So what are some of the events surrounding the exhibition?
Well, we've got a very varied and sort of comprehensive program of events. I'll let Natalie, Maya, talk a little bit more about that. One of the things I'm particularly excited about, I will say, about the program of events is the school tours, because as Maya alluded to, I think children are going to really, really just enjoy this exhibition. When we were putting this together, we were still kind of thinking in that longer term view about having, come through the pandemic, the sort of challenges and ups and downs that we've all had to face, and the passing of Queen Elizabeth. This is really an exhibition that's about lifting people up. It's a joyful, fun, exuberant experience when you go in there. I mean, you can't help but smile, when you see some of these works. And going back to the point about Ray Banker and the Milo cans, I think another piece that I think many people who will, remember some things from the old days will really enjoy is a work by Mark Lawrenson, and it's called Farm Soldier. And it's a portrait of the late Edward Patterson, whose nickname was Farm Soldier, who had his sort of mini-mart convenience store on Shedden Road, and his uniform.
His uniform was very outstanding.
And so that work is a mixed media assemblage. So that's one of the other things, not just bright color. There's a lot of artists creating work in new media, in digital media, and we can talk about the digital works in the show perhaps, because obviously that's a really sort of current subject right now, this whole idea of NFTs and digital things and cryptocurrency.
What is NFTs?
Oh, we'd be here for an hour if I answered that question, but it's something.
What is it short?
An NFT. It's a non-fungible token. So this is basically an immaterial artwork that is held on the blockchain. It exists digitally, virtually, so it's not a physical art object. It's a digital file that you can buy. So that's about the extent of my knowledge of NFTs. I'm learning more about this new field, because it is a very new field. I mean, NFTs only really came about in 2019, 2020, early 2020. So we're talking about really cutting edge sort of concepts in contemporary art. So that's something that's explored in the exhibition. And just going back to the Patterson piece and this idea of mixed media, another component of that piece is actually the original sign from Patterson's store on Shedden Road. So the old hand-crafted, hand-lettered wooden signage is in this show next to works like Ray Banker's Turtle Meat, which is a reclaimed sculpture. It's an old fast food signage that he has sort of rearranged the text, right? So he's put his own kind of identity and brand on this work, superimposed over the branding of the fast food chain. So there's a lot of dialogue, and that's what we love with these exhibitions, is the dialogue between works. When you put them in the same space, you start to see these relationships that come out of the work, and I think it's fascinating.
Yes, it sounds exciting. I can't wait to be a part, an observer, and take part in some of, seeing where this really goes. So, Daniela, what was your, I guess, highlight or challenges with organizing or arranging these artists? Or gathering them, getting them to come on board?
Well, I think the biggest obstacle in the beginning was narrowing down just the number
that's
of
a good
submissions.
That's a good obstacle.
It's a good thing. Yes, it means that we're engaging with the community, that they're responding to it, and we're really trying to, I think, the strength that the works in this exhibition are highlighting is the artist's interest in, recontextualizing these themes and into a Caymanian cultural context, right? And it allows us to, partake in the wider global conversations of the art world. And yeah, I don't think anything was harder than that. Just seeing everything come in, seeing everyone so excited about their projects. And there will, for sure, we have the biennial coming up, and there will be many more opportunities for people to submit and exhibit at the gallery.
As it relates to the artist and the featured artist in the show, would you say you have a good balance between female and male, adults, any children?
So we don't have a lot of our younger artists participating.
Because they're still being developed?
Yes, I would say. Well, I would say that the thing is, that some of the interests that the artist might be, exploring within their own practices might just not be to this exhibition. But that's what's really great with each project. We see new names pop up because they feel like what we're touching on really speaks to them and to Cayman and their experience here.
I think it's also a perspective thing, because Daniela is quite a bit younger than I am. And so, I would say there are several artists in their 20s. So that's, I would say we have some younger artists. But to your point, Daniela, I think being that this is an exhibition in our main space, of course, we focus a lot on the exhibitions we do at our primary space on Esterly Tibbetts Highway. But of course, we have many exhibitions that are off-site. We have a whole program of satellite exhibitions. In fact, we recently installed a photography exhibition, for example, at Owen Roberts Airport. And that was, again, a open call community exhibition of local photographers, just in some cases members of the public, amateur hobbyist photographers who submitted their work. And it's now on display, where hopefully more and more tourists coming back, thousands of people walking through that space. So it's not just our main space, I think, that provides a forum for showing community work. We have these satellite exhibitions, as I say, that I think are a great way for those who are interested in getting involved with the gallery, kind of a first step for coming and joining us and showing their work in a public forum.
So
Yeah,
which
and
other? So go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, I think in terms of the representation of artists in the show as well, one of the things I think Danielle alluded to earlier was that you won't only see artists that you may have heard of in our community quite a few times. So there are very established artists in the show, like Ray Banker, who've mentioned, like Stoked Collective with Mark Lawrenson and Pam Lawrenson. But there are also a lot of artists in the show who maybe haven't exhibited with us before, or who have done maybe smaller shows with the gallery. So we do have quite a nice range of artists, based on their sort of experience level in the field, I suppose.
And coming from various sectors and backgrounds throughout the island, because I'm actually
Absolutely.
looking through the names and it's very
Yes,
exciting.
many of them are not full-time artists, so to speak.
Exactly.
Many of them have other sort of careers and professions that they do
yes.
as well.
Can you start telling us a little bit about the program and the series, when it starts and what's going to happen within that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we're kicking off most of our programming in November in terms of in-person programming. And we have our lunchtime tours. We usually do those for every exhibition. So those are free drop-in tours if you have an hour on your lunch break or during your day. It's 12:30 to 1:30, and we're doing them on Wednesday, the 2nd of November, 7th of December, 4th of January, and 1st of February. So it's once a month from November through February. And that's the curatorial team. So Daniela and Will and Meg will be leading tours of the exhibition. So it's a great opportunity to come in and actually get a bit of a behind the scenes look at the show, and hear from the experts who have put this together. Then we're also doing our Business of Art series. And if you haven't heard of Business of Art, this is a series of professional development webinars that we do, again, at no cost, for people who have small businesses or creative businesses, that just offer sort of tips and tricks, I guess, for running your best business. And in this series, we'll be looking particularly at branding and marketing, and that kind of runs along the same theme as the pop art show. Thinking about branding and commercial, the branding and commercial aspects.
It's a great free cost course, yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So those are usually on Zoom in the evenings, and they're scheduled for the 1st of December and 2nd of February at the moment. We'll also be doing our Family Fun Days, which happen on Saturdays in December, January, and February. And those are drop-in days for families to come in. We have worksheets that you can use to kind of engage with the show a little bit more. There will be studio activities and pop-up activities on the breezeway. So if you have little ones, it's a good day to come out and enjoy the gallery together. We had a very, very popular program before the pandemic called Preschoolers and Parents. And that was a drop-in that would happen on a Friday morning. $5 per child, and they would come in, we'd read a little story, and then do an art craft activity around that.
And that was very well attended. And
it was
very excited about that. I have some friends who had
yes,
some part of that.
Yes, it was very well attended, very popular. It's been on pause since the pandemic, but during this show, during the Christmas season, while kids are off on break, we are going to be bringing that back for a couple of weeks. So Friday the 16th of December through the 6th of January. And it's a 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. drop-in. A couple other things to highlight. We've got a late night session at the gallery. So for some people, it's hard to make it down to the gallery during your workday if you're working full-time hours. So on the 9th of February, we're going to be extending our hours for a little bit so that we'll go into the night until about 8 p.m.
Boy, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be
It's going to really be good. So we're going to pause and take a break. And when we come back, we will continue our discussions.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Whether it's school, midterm break, or you're just looking for a change of scenery, take in the splendid beauty of Cayman Crystal Caves with specials throughout October. For our beloved Cayman Islands residents, the full guided tour only $16 for kids and $20 for adults. Special rates for all delightful visitors too. Cayman Crystal Caves in Northside. Call 949-2283 or email info@caymancrystalcaves.com or book your tour directly at caymancrystalcaves.com. The October special at Cayman Crystal Caves is magical, beautiful, and it's 100% homegrown Cayman. Call 949-2283 or book direct at caymancrystalcaves.com.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The swearing-in of Cayman's new Chief Justice gets underway next week. The Honourable Chief Justice Margaret Ramsey Hale succeeds the Honourable Sir Anthony Smelly, who demits office on the same day. The ceremony is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, October 25th in Grand Courtroom 1, beginning at 2 p.m. It will be live-streamed and broadcast via local channels. It will also be live-streamed on CIGTV, YouTube, and Facebook channels. In international news, the European Union is discussing plans to provide Ukraine with 1.5 billion euros per month to help with basic needs such as energy, food and water, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said at a news conference Friday at the end of a two-day EU summit. At this stage, it's still a proposal, and the 27 countries will explore ways to find ways to finance this aid to Ukraine. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol announced on Friday that the panel has officially sent a subpoena to former U.S. President Donald Trump as it paints him as the central figure in the multi-step plan to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. The panel is ordering Trump turn over documents by November 4th and, quote, 1 or more days of deposition testimony beginning on or about November 14th. While it is not clear if Trump will comply with the subpoena, the action serves as a way for the committee to set down a marker and make clear they want information directly from Trump as the panel investigates the attack. Those are your latest headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm Shanna Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britcay. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Laura Young, and in the studio with us from the National Gallery, we have Maya, William, and Daniela. And before the break, Maya was going through a little bit of all the programs for the Pop in Popular. It's the Pop in the Popular exhibition, which starts today and ends on the 10th of February, 2023. So, Maya, before the break, you were talking a little bit about some of the programs. Can you continue with that?
Yeah, so again, the program of events is really meant to supplement and add to the amazing exhibition that Will and Daniela and Megan and everyone else on our curatorial team have designed for the whole public. So I went through a couple of the events and I won't relist them again because I know it's quite a bit of information with a lot of dates. But if you are looking for any of the events to attend as part of the Pop and the Popular program, you can check out our website. It's nationalgallery.org.ky and everything will be listed there. You can also give us a call at 945-8111 and we'll be happy to take your questions and sign you up for any of the events that we have going on.
And William, tell us a little bit more about the artist.
Yeah, well, there's so much to talk about. We were talking before the break about, bringing in new artists, So we have those established figures who are, really pivotal to this story of Caymanian pop art. But we have a lot of newcomers and artists who I think perhaps until recently maybe didn't feel like they could exhibit at the gallery, or they maybe didn't have the confidence to present their work. And what I love seeing is when we have those emerging artists being able to show their work on the wall. We had our members reception last night, and seeing the sort of sense of pride and accomplishment, which is very deserved in these artists' eyes, I think it's incredible. And another aspect of this exhibition, which we started talking about, is this sort of idea of digital art and new technologies, because that's what this is all about. It's bringing this story up to the present, right? Because the world looks very different today than it did, forget in the 1960s, even the 1980s. So there's a piece, for example, by Carlos Garcia, and I don't want to give too much away, but it involves a cassette tape. And anyone who was maybe born in the 1980s or maybe even before will remember, right? Cassette tapes.
I still have cassette tapes. Oh my goodness.
VHS tapes. So as part of this installation, we had to go and source some VHS tapes. And of course, I don't know if you've tried to find these old technology.
I have many of those, and my daughter calls me a professional hoarder. She says, "Mommy, you are hoarding nice things, but why are you hoarding?" I said, "Someone, some way along the line is going to need these."
Yeah.
So.
Well, these were shredded up, so I don't know.
No, mine is not shredded up.
No, but and it was just funny. The point I think I was making was this thinking about pop in the contemporary context and this dialogue with that older era where things at that time were novel and new, and now these analog technologies are kind of outmoded, right? They're no longer current, and we're used to smartphones and social media. So there's a lot of work that's really riffing on that in this show, that's looking at what we talked about earlier, this idea of NFTs, the idea of digital art, presenting work in digital formats. So we have Michael Mothan, a young Caymanian artist who's done kind of a digital animation of Aunt Julia Hyde. So you're really then thinking about the old and the new, traditional cultural references that are preserved but kind of updated for our own contemporary era. So that's kind of the dynamic that weaves throughout a lot of the works in this show. And I wanted to just hand over to Daniela and let her say a bit more on this point. But thinking about this exhibition, we had a lot of people working on this show. And I wanted to sort of maybe give people a bit of a sort of inside look at how these exhibitions come together, because we have a team. We have interns who've joined us and have sort of risen up the ranks. So we have Daniela here beside me, our curatorial assistant, Megan Arch as well, who worked on this exhibition. And I think it's been great to work with people who are just at the start of their career and see the progression, because we're very proud of all of our younger staff members at the gallery, who've really come on in leaps and bounds, and having that responsibility, because Daniela has played a very major role in this exhibition. And I also wanted to thank our sponsors, because we get huge support from the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, but also from private sponsors. And in this case, Davenport Development have sponsored this exhibition. Very generous contribution, supporting our local artists and also loaning us some of the works from their own collection. So we had several works from private collectors that we've taken on loan. So we're very thankful to have those works and to be able to share them with the public. When people have hoard an artwork, perhaps they have it in their house and they don't want to let go of it. And so now we've actually been able to borrow some of these works and let the public enjoy them as well. And I also wanted to thank my fiancée, Elise, because I didn't thank her last night, but she has been a huge help kind of behind the scenes with this exhibition, and our whole team. Daniela.
Just picking up on what you were mentioning about new media. That's one of the last little nooks in the gallery space where we've, without giving too much away again myself, have a project by Dos Tortugas, which is a collaboration company project with Mark Lawrenson and Anthony Lawrence. And we have Gordon Solomon in that room as well, who has taken inspiration from his graphic, art roots where he started. And we have the work alluding to QR codes that speak to changing media, as well as specifically that work to Caymanian cultural erosion. So we have a lot of overlap there. We have Douglas Cameron as well, the Duppy Project, who was talking to me about the vision he has and the way that this project could grow to encompass just traditions and culture of not just Cayman, but all over the Caribbean and, you know, native cultures from the Americas. And it's really exciting to see the directions that these new media, new technology projects are taking right now.
Wow, exciting. So for those who are listening who may have just joined us, we're concluding our discussions with the members of the National Gallery. Just for today, though, right? They will be back on the show to promote the Pop and the Popular, the art exhibition that starts today, the 21st of October 22, and runs to the 10th of February 2023. And if you have any more questions, you can call them at 945-8111. Any other final plugs, Maya?
I guess I'll just mention that the National Gallery is open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and admission is free. Of course, we do accept donations if people feel called to do so, but there's no cost to enter.
Well, we want to thank our guest and we wish you much success, and I look forward to actually seeing this exhibition and seeing how, you know, it progresses for the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Seems like a little bit longer. We're going to pause and take a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to continue our discussions and talk today.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
And the whole island is one big, big party, party, party.
Little Cayman, the 2022 Pirates Fest season starts with you November 4th through the 6th with the official kickoff at McCoy's Sunset Bar Friday the 4th, followed by the float parade 3 p.m. on the 5th starting from Southern Cross, costume competition, fireworks show, and don't forget about the Pirates party at the Hungry Iguana. You know them pirates like a little party, Little Cayman style. Little Cayman Pirates Fest, November 4th through the 6th.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walker's Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. And in the studio with us, we have members of the RCIPS, Superintendent Mr. Brad Ebanks. I'm going to ask you to introduce the rest of the guests.
Thank you for having us. With me today is Sergeant Linford Butler, and I'll let him identify his qualifications. And with us also is Mackay Campbell from our media department.
And we're going to be discussing today the legislation that has been passed with respect to the amendment to the traffic bill in relation to the stricter driving limit for the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
The bill was passed on the 10th, but now it's in effect as of the 19th of October.
That is correct. So that is now lowered from 100 to 70. So there's an entire drop of 30%.
And it brings it more in line with what, correct me if I'm wrong, with what a lot of legislation is around the rest of the world, or in particular in America. And in relation to America, where do we stand now? Are we in...
It brings us in line with the number of other jurisdictions.
Other jurisdictions.
The UK has been lowered as well.
Okay.
So we're trying to match the other jurisdictions, and of course use any opportunity to make our roads safer in the Cayman Islands.
One question before for you, Mr. Ebanks, or Brad, I can call you Brad.
Of course.
Superintendent Brad. Would you say that this is not necessarily a knee-jerk reaction to the increase in traffic accidents, but something perhaps that the RCIPS has probably discussed or thought about for a long time, based on a lot of appeal from the public, or based on how unfortunately time has evolved, or over time the traffic accidents has increased?
It is something that we've been discussing for some length of time, but seeing the amount of accidents that we're having on our roads, we saw it fit as not only from the RCIPS but from the government to lower the limits, all in hopes of making our roads a lot safer.
Sergeant Butler, can we hear from you and your involvement in this, and how you're going to be improving
yes,
even further than what it is as well, as it is now?
Yes, we see the amount of accidents that is happening in the Cayman Islands right now, and the sister islands as well. There's a lot with DUI. Alcohol plays a part in a lot of our accidents on our roads, and the government and the goal command of the RCIPS see that it's fit to lower the limit. Lowering the limit will just to say, don't drink and drive. If you intend to drink, get a designated driver.
And how does this correspond in relation to the limit? What does that mean for a drinker? Is that one drink, or it depends on the type of alcohol? I mean, don't drink and drive is don't drink and drive. But how can someone still be responsible when they drink and they drive? I know that sounds a little...
Well, oxymoron. Like an oxymoron.
Like an oxymoron, Brad, yeah.
Well,
but it's It's a discussion that we can have, and that we need to continue to have a lot more often. I know we have limited time, so I'm just trying to encourage the listening public and those who drink and drive, what that means.
What it is drinking and driving. I will say, don't drink and drive, but there's a lot of other other factors when it comes to drinking alcohol and how it will affect your body and how it will affect someone driving skills, and be able to drop it to a standard where they are being below the standard of what we expect. Impaired, being over the limit, whatever. But because it's a factor of body weight, whether you are eating while you are drinking, whether you are have tolerance for alcohol, it's a lot of things. So instead of going down all that science
or trying to rationalize how much drinks you should have that will now meet or come below the level.
That's right.
Just don't rationalize.
Don't rationalize. Just don't drink and drive.
And how is the promotion from Mr. Mikhail? Can you tell us how the promotion is? What's your plans for the promotion in relation to this new legislation?
Yeah, so basically following off from what Acting Superintendent Ebanks and Sergeant Butler said, our overall message hasn't really changed. It's still don't drink and drive. That's always been our bottom line. So I think the new legislation, it kind of gives people less leeway to think that they can have a few and still be able to get way under the limit, because people might be used to saying, I can have this many drinks. So now they'll have to take a second look and be like, maybe I shouldn't do it, In terms of our promotion strategy, obviously we're here on Talk Today to get in touch with your audiences, to let them know, especially, again, about the new limit and that it is in effect. And we continue our strategies working with our media partners across the island, so whether that's the other radio stations, the other news outlets. In addition to that, we have, Superintendent Ebanks can speak on this, but we also have some collaboration with our other agency partners to do some messages that the public will have to see because they'll be on the roads, and through our own social media platforms and everything as well. So it's a multifaceted approach. So it comes from us from the media side and also from the officers themselves as they are on the roads.
What comes to mind is how the promotion could be extended, and probably you see that is to have them within the places that serve alcohol.
Yeah, definitely. If I could just got off the phone with Mr. Howard over at the NRA, sort of short-term notice. But if not today or tonight, by the weekend, he has actually promised to put up some of the billboards.
Okay.
To make sure that persons coming or going from the Eastern Districts and from the West Bay area, that those are visible, making the public know that the law has changed, and we'll continue to do appeals like this through the media houses, and through our website as well, just to make sure that people do understand now that the limit has been lowered. It is a fact that once you add alcohol and speeding to the mix, it's a recipe for disaster. So we're adamant. Our message is do not drink and drive. When you take that out of the equation, you have nothing to worry about whether you're over the limit or not.
That's right.
Don't drink and drive, you'll always be at zero. So have that responsibility. Have someone designated as a driver, or make plans to get home safe. If you plan to drink, do not plan to drive. If you plan to drive, do not plan to drink.
It's that simple.
Simple as that.
We do have a caller on the line, but I want to talk about the Purple Ribbon campaign when we come back. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. You're on the line. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, Laura.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Officer Brad.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Okay. and the rest of the panel.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yes, drinking and driving is very serious. As you all know that car accidents are very serious, period. But I've noticed for a while now, big Mack trucks that be driving on our roads during the day. And they be traveling at some heavy speeds. I've noticed it in the sports area. I've even noticed 2 truck drivers look like they were racing. And this is during the day. I know they might be trying to get as much load as they can because of the time that they're working with. But if one of those trucks hits someone, it's going to be a very serious accident. So I'm asking the police officers to warn them. I know it's their livelihood. That's what they do to make a living. But if they hit someone and kill someone or people at a high speed, it's going to be very serious. Thank you very much.
Yes, caller. Thank you. And although we are speaking specifically about drinking and driving and not to drive if you're drinking, and if you're going to drink, don't drive, the reckless driving, I think, definitely has been on the radar of the community and the RCIPS, and I've also been a part of a community meeting where it was heavily discussed, so I know that you all are working on that, and I'm not going to get into that because I see so much of that. But the one thing about the drinking and driving, I also see irresponsible, and I'm sure many people in the community see irresponsible people on bicycles who are drunk, walking who are drunk, stepping out into traffic. That person that has chosen to drive and not drink can then be, unfortunately, a person who kills someone who has. So what are we going to do about that? Perhaps that's something that we need to be addressing. I know you can't legislate the walking and drunk, but to be responsible. So that's also a challenge. Certainly not saying that it's as great as a challenge, but I've seen it, and I've obviously, unfortunately, personally, I had to avoid somebody last night because they were on the road drunk.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's
riding a bicycle and walking, so 2 of them.
Oh my. All right. But in the same sense, that shows us the importance of the person behind the wheel.
That's right.
Being fully aware.
Which is why I brought it up.
Yes, being fully aware and not under the influence of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
If they were, the results, if you were, the results could have been much different. So, although we don't have any legislation to prevent persons from, walking while intoxicated. But the message.
But you also know that there was a traffic accident many years ago in West Bay where, unfortunately, the young man innocently, killed someone because they were irresponsible.
Yes,
irresponsible person on the bicycle.
Yeah, but we can use this opportunity to say to people who find themselves in that position to really try to make all alternatives to get home safely.
Correct.
That is calling a friend, because the fact remains is that we have more traffic on our roads today than we probably ever did.
Ever.
So, years ago probably you might have been passed by 5 vehicles. Today you're probably passed by 20 before you get, from one place to the other. So, it is important for us to make sure that our safety is first, whether we're driving, riding a bicycle, or walking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Before I get into Purple Ribbon, because we can end on that, is that you mentioned Sergeant Butler, Superintendent Banks, Sergeant Butler, the increase in the road accidents within the sister islands. Can you speak to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman and how that has increased in relation to Grand Cayman?
Well, I can say that in Cayman Brac, the fatalities increased tremendously
because of drunk
driving and some other factors as well. We accustomed to have one and no accident in Cayman Brac. Now we have 213. So what I will say is that the comparison is not really that great to Grand Cayman, but it is still troubling.
In
because
relation
one
to their
life
population.
That's right, because one life loss is still too much.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I see that, well then, okay, if we can just have that mindset to just tell ourselves wherever we going to drink, whether by the bar or a friend or a party or whatever, just don't drive if you intend to drink.
Agreed.
Again, if I can jump in just for a sec,
Of course.
just to speak on the what we talked about, the other road users, so the pedestrians and the cyclists. So even though the legislation doesn't speak to bicycles specifically in terms of the legal drinking limit, bicycles are road vehicles and they're considered vehicles under the law. So although the law is not targeting you specifically, you should still consider that the same way you wouldn't drink and drive, you shouldn't drink and ride, because it's basically doing the same thing. So I would say that would definitely be our message to those road users in particular. I would say the walking, we do want to encourage people to, if you're doing a drink and you don't have a ride, it's better to walk. But the cycling, I would say on that side, we would have the same message for the that we have for the motorists as we would have for the cyclists, which would be, if you're going to drink, don't ride.
Yeah, because the vehicles are not just about cars, but motorcycles and and I'm not talking about bicycles, but the scooters and the motorcycles. We do have a caller on the line. We'll take our final call. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon. I just have a quick question. In regards to the traffic department monitoring of traffic, what can be done to make sure that people are obeying the law? We seem to have a fundamental problem in this country where people have total disregard for the law. A good example is people are queuing up at the traffic light, and the buses go to the front of the line and cut in the queue to go out. It happens repeatedly. There's now two routes up on the Bobby Thompson Way, two roads, one going left and one going right around the roundabout. If you go there at 5 o'clock in the evening, what you will see is that both lanes are backed up because people will go in a right lane, go around the roundabout, and then turn left. And it's just constantly blocking up the traffic. So I wonder what monitoring mechanisms are in place by the traffic department. I know that you have people out watching and giving tickets for speeding, but there are other types of traffic offenses that appear to be constantly on the increase, and nobody is monitoring to stop these people from doing what is against the law.
Yes, caller. Any other comments or questions?
No, that's all.
Okay, we thank you for your call and your question, and we will ask you to leave us there, and we will definitely answer that. Yes, I have to agree with the caller because there's a total disregard and disrespect when many people get in the cars in the Cayman Islands. The other caller that called initially, the first caller, talked about the big trucks, and certainly she's brought up another matter. So, and all of this is irresponsible driving.
Irresponsible driving. Our driving culture has seemed to
deplored
really
and depleted.
Diminished
is the right word.
Tremendously. But just to comment on the caller's point, I think I know where she's talking about. You come to the traffic light at the Smith Road Junction, if you're going towards what's that they call on
Fairbanks?
Fairbanks. If you're going
to the right to
Fairbanks,
Fairbanks or left.
What the traffic will do, some of the traffic will go in the right lane and go around the roundabout, and then they actually have
the
right of way then to go east, while the traffic that is in the left lane has to wait. So that's they're not doing anything illegal. It's just inconsiderate driving again. But something that we can probably look at discussing with NRA.
But overtaking on the left is illegal.
Yes,
if you are in traffic and you're overtaken on a double line, you're not supposed to cross the double line. There's so many list of things. I'm going to send you the list.
Yes.
Offline of all the things I've seen, right?
Yeah. Okay. Do we have a few minutes to discuss Eastern Districts?
We have a few minutes, yes.
Minutes? Okay.
Yes. We're going to give you the time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. Didn't want to.
continue?
Yep. Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, we did realize.
Sorry, I was just checking to see if there was any messages. There was a message, but I'm not going to read that.
All right.
one.
Okay, no problem. All right. So we did realize that the eastern districts, there was a lot happening up there as far as traffic offenses, violations, etc., and just the geographical location, the size of the eastern districts, the distance from Georgetown, the distance from the centralized local traffic department, that we did need our own traffic enforcement unit in the eastern districts. So 28th of March this year, we formed a small traffic unit out in the eastern districts. It consists of about 10 officers, maybe.
That's the support between Northside and East End.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And not Bodden but just Northside and
No,
East
it
End,
includes
or
Bodden. Yeah.
You probably need another 5 then, because that's a still a great
we're building.
business.
Yeah, we're building the numbers slowly. So they've actually made a tremendous difference over the eastern districts. We do realize that on weekends the traffic seems to flow out into the eastern districts, whether it's sightseeing or members of the public going to certain areas of north side to celebrate, enjoy themselves. But what we did find that on the weekends, so much traffic in the eastern districts, and speeding as well, coming from Round Point and those areas there. So we did put that together, so we're seeing a difference over in the eastern districts. What it also enabled us to do, if there's any accidents, whether it's day or night, the traffic department doesn't have to actually go from.
Yeah, the response time is a lot shorter because they're right within the vicinity.
And they can actually deal with that from in the eastern districts as well. So while we find that most of the accidents do happen in Georgetown, most of the serious accidents sort of happen where persons can, get out and sort of accelerate. So just want the public to know, if they haven't noticed already, that we have our own traffic unit in the eastern districts. So once again, do not speed, do not drink and drive, get a designated driver. If you get a speeding ticket, well,
you can have to pay it.
Yep. So it's all about responsible.
It's not funny. I know I did smile, but or laugh or chuckle, but it's all serious.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yes, very, very serious.
And to the roads.
Yeah. Any road fatality, any fatality is really unfortunate. And we see just this morning we had a very unfortunate accident, and our condolences go out to the Martinez family.
And by extension, the East End and West Bay communities are mourning, so the Welcomes and the Martinis.
Yes.
And I would be not remiss. I was going to end the show that way, not knowing that you would come in, be our guest. But our condolences go out from the class of '85 and the class of '86, and Barry and Josie and Joey, classmates of mine. So very sad day for me as well.
Yeah. And that's not to say though
that
that speeding or DUI had anything to do.
No,
with it.
It's not. Thank you. That's the disclaimer.
Yes.
It's just thinking about how things can happen without the influence of alcohol or irresponsible driving, because we just don't understand it. I said I would ask about the Purple Ribbon, because it's a drive that you have at Christmas time, but I'm also wondering if that particular drive should not be something that's carried on all through the year, and maybe we need some more private sector partnerships to support the RCAPS, who is respectfully, limited with resources. Hopefully that will change in the future continuously. Right. That many people will want to offer themselves in service and police and be eligible to do so. But how can that assist with mitigation and promoting safety on the roads in respect to people not drinking and drive? Because people are going to go out and socialize and drink and drive.
So every year, we usually start around November.
Yes.
Because we do realize that, Christmas parties start early. There's so many companies on island that, they have their office parties. And we've had a number of accidents, serious accidents, where, persons have been coming from their office or Christmas
There's usually
party.
December and January that we have a lot of fatalities.
So there's so many companies on island that actually have a Christmas party and so many limited venues. So people are actually booking their Christmas parties well in advance. So you'll find November, parties are taking place, and that's just for the season. So every year we have our road safety operational drive, which is called Winter Guardian. That covers every aspect of safety for our islands. It covers road safety. It covers safety for your home, personal safety, the wide aspect of things. But we will again start early this year, and the message is going to be all about safety, and the responsibility every person has to ensure their safety and the safety of everyone else around them. So,
back to the new legislation. Can we end on that, Mr.?
Well, this was going back to your question on the Purple Ribbon campaign.
Yes.
Just to say that aspect of the holiday safety campaign, that's run with our partners in the NDC. So they're the ones who manage, they're the driving force behind that, so to speak. And they rely on a lot of private sector and government donations and sponsorships to make sure that they can pay the cost for all the buses and the drivers and everything like that. That's the New Year's Purple Ribbon Bus campaign.
And I want to interject. Thank you for that, Brad, for educating us and reminding us of that program. And back to the Purple Ribbon, I'm wondering if that shouldn't have been or could still be encouraged during Pirates Week, because that's another heightened time, not just Christmas but Pirates Week and Bodmin, heightened times when people will tend to drink more and be on the road more.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, because you initially asked if it can be something that goes year round, and I think us in the police service, we would have no opposition to that, any kind of alternative for persons that are going to go and drink if they can find another way to get home. As we know with human nature, the more convenient it is, the more people would take advantage of it. So I think it's just a case of us advocating, the members of the public as well, making it known that they would like to see this, maybe not throughout the whole year, but at strategic occasions like you've mentioned. And, of course, getting the partnerships behind it, the private sector companies and stuff to help sponsor and put that money towards it is something that the whole community would kind of have to come together to make a reality. It's not something that any one agency would be able to pull off on their own.
It would have to be a partnership, so
but
maybe
I think
NDC
you would definitely be supportive of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And the good thing about starting at November is that Pirates Week is mostly is now in November, where it was in October before. We've had to, but yes, so we try to encapsulate everything going from November forward and well into the new year.
Final key points on this new legislation. Don't drink and drive. I'll start with Mr. Butler and then Mr. Brad.
Well, I will say the legislation is one of the tools that the government see fit to use to carry the message and send the message across. Don't drink and drive. We are going to echo it as well, that we should not be drinking and driving. And it is only to be responsible, to do the right thing. And it is not hard to do the right thing. The right thing here is just look out for your safety and the safety of others. And that is what is important here. And if we do that, the roads will be safer. We can't be driving on the road for ourselves. We have to be driving for other people and other road users.
When I was teaching my daughter how to drive, I said you had to think about 5 people. She said, 5? I said, yes, you, the one on the left, the one on the right, the one in the front, the one in the back, and actually maybe another one, the one that comes out of nowhere.
The one that you don't see, yeah.
So it was more, and she said she understood that, yeah, because that's something that you don't always think about. Mr. Marketing Man, PR.
Yeah, just to echo the sentiments of my other colleagues, and just to encourage people to. This is a new legislation. Everyone may not be aware. Not everyone follows the news that carefully. Most people that drive would have probably seen something about this. But if you know of the changes, just remind your friends, remind everyone that you know that they should always be taking care, but they need to be extra careful. Make an even more conscious effort to be safe, to not drink and drive. And just to reiterate that we along with government, central government, will be doing our part to spread the word as well, advertise, working with social media partners, trying to reach some of that younger demographic as well. So yeah, if you want to reach RCIPS, rcips.ky, and you can follow us on our socials. Just search for RCIPS on any of the platforms.
Brad, in relation to the new legislation, can you talk about how quickly what will be the enforcement? What will be the penalties? Have they changed?
No, the penalties remain the same. Just that they
remind us of what they are.
Well, mandatory 1 year suspended sentence from driving.
The sentence could be varied.
Yes.
Could be higher.
Yes, depending on the circumstances. And if you are actually arrested on a number of occasions for several offenses, you could face prison, and the fines can vary as well. So it is a life-changing event. You get caught driving drunk, especially if you're a working person, and most people are. You're without a license for a year. You have to depend on others. Heavy fines. But one of the most important things I think that I need to mention here today is that if you're involved in a really serious accident, it is very, very life-changing for yourself, for your family, and if the unfortunate incident happens where you're actually involved in another, in a second vehicle, if you're found at fault, then you have that responsibility to that other person's family and that other person. So it's not worth the risk to actually
life-altering, life-changing,
it is really,
devastating.
really, yes.
And sometimes you're never healed.
You never
heal from it.
Rebound from it. So it's not really worth it.
Well, we want to thank the RCIPS for coming in to provide us with this yet very critical reminder that don't drink and drive. And if you're going to drink, don't drive. And if you drive, don't drink. It's a simple message. Thank you all, and we wish you every success, and most of all, that our roads will become more safe and people become more responsible. I'm your guest host, Laura Young. Thank you for joining us today. Do have a wonderful and safe weekend. Have a good afternoon.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331.
Talk Today is proudly brought to you by Pirates Fest 2022. Stay in the know. Get the full event lineup at piratesfestcayman.com.
And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.